To India now, where the number of recorded COVID-19 infections has surpassed 24 million. 4,000 or more deaths were reported for the third consecutive day. Criticism has raged over the government's handling of the crisis. Everywhere there are shortages of oxygen and medical supplies. Hospitals and medical staff, as well as crematoriums and mortuaries, are all overwhelmed. In many places, social media has served as a lifeline to provide help for people who feel abandoned by the government.
Till a couple of months ago, Arushi's daily routine looked a lot different. Being a digital content creator, her day mostly involved planning what to post on her Instagram handle. Known for her humorous style, she has amassed a big following on social media and has earned a reputation as an influencer. But this role acquired a different meaning as the second wave of COVID-19 hit India. Suddenly, Arushi and other influencers like her became a virtual lifeline for those in need of urgent medical aid.
We kind of found ourselves in this situation very unwittingly. People did not know where to go. We did not have helpline numbers set, or we did not, even if there were helplines, they weren't efficient enough to handle so many people or SOS calls. People like us, creators or influencers, we had a certain reach. Requests started with 2 or 3 a day and went on to 20 a day, and at one point it was 100 or 200 a day.
Arushi says the request began with appeals for help in finding oxygen or hospital beds, and soon went on to desperate pleas for plasma, crucial medicines, and eventually crematoriums and burial grounds which could accommodate more COVID victims' bodies. She kept amplifying these messages, connecting those who needed help with those who could provide help. She adds that the reason people started reaching out to them was due to the absence of support from government authorities, who seemed to have bungled their response to the coronavirus outbreak. Over the past few years, social media has emerged as a powerful communication tool in a country with hundreds of millions of users. But the second wave has brought forth its immense potential to provide urgent, time-sensitive assistance during moments of crisis. And it's not just content creators who have stepped in to assist. The second wave of COVID has seen other public figures using social media platforms, especially Twitter, to connect with and help those in need. Srinivas Bibi, who heads the youth wing of the biggest opposition political party, has gained recognition for his COVID relief work in the country. He says for him and his team of volunteers, social media has proved invaluable in the fight against the virus because of the reach it could provide them.
People needed a medium which could respond quickly and immediately coordinate their request. On social media, you can add all the details like location, contact information, medical report in one go, which makes it easier for our team here to coordinate.
While she may not have the same resources as Srinivas, Arushi's approach to providing help is similar. The influencer, along with a group of content creators, runs a volunteer group which works on providing verified leads on oxygen and other necessities to those sending in distressed requests.
At this point in time, there's really no better way we could have used our influence, or our social media platforms than this.
Arushi says this experience has made her realize just how much difference social media can make. Through her work, she has been filling a vital gap in India's overburdened healthcare system, turning her from a media influencer to a real lifesaver.
And let's bring in correspondent Nimisha Jaiswal, who is joining us with The View from Delhi. So, Nimisha, tell us, it appears that social media is filling the role that government should normally play.
Yes, definitely, Sarah. What we have here is a situation where there's immense pressure on healthcare infrastructure across the country. Resources are scarce, and what is urgently needed is a centralized database to allow patients and relatives to access exactly where they can get help. However, in hard-hit cities like Delhi, this is missing. However, this is also not a national phenomenon. There are cities that have come through for governments that have come through for their citizens. Some cities in the state of Kerala, as well as in the financial capital Mumbai, have set up war rooms which have teams of officials, some municipal workers, sometimes even local government teachers, who are taking calls and finding out who has tested positive for COVID, what exactly are their stats, what is the exact nature of help they need, and do they need hospitalization. They also have up-to-date information from hospitals about the resources available with them, so they're able to efficiently assign patients to these hospitals. However, the fact that these are missing in many other cities has been a major gap that governments urgently need to plug.
Meanwhile, the number of new infections in India, it continues to rise, especially spreading in rural areas. Just walk us through the situation right now.
Well, Sarah, cases in rural India as well as deaths have quadrupled officially from the last wave, the last surge India saw. However, these are just official statistics, and most estimates actually believe that actual cases could be 10 times as much. This is because even basic diagnostic services are very hard to access in large parts of the country. So there are many people who are actually reporting deaths due to fevers because people just do not get diagnosed. Those in villages do have access to public health centers, but these are often not well equipped enough to deal with serious COVID cases, so they have to rush loved ones to the nearest town. And you can only imagine how there's this massive crush for hospital beds, even in these small towns, which means actually that the situation in some of these villages and towns is much worse than the heartbreaking images we've seen coming out of major cities like Delhi and Mumbai.
Namisha Jaiswal reporting from Delhi. Thank you. And here are some other developments in the coronavirus pandemic. Singapore has tightened social distancing restrictions after a surge in infections. It's banned dining at restaurants and limited public gatherings to 2 people. Authorities in China have ordered mass testing in 2 cities in the central province of Anhui after the detection of new local transmissions. And for the first time since March, Germany has dipped below a key 7-day threshold of 100 cases per 100,000 people. Restrictions can be relaxed if the incidence rate remains below that level.